Hello, I'm Doug Marshall. Thanks for checking in. If you have questions about your craft brewery insurance, you want to meet this guy, Kyle Rheiner. Enjoy our conversation. Hey, Kyle, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely, Doug. Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Just remind me, where are you located exactly?
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know the longitude and latitude. But I am in Thorndale, Pennsylvania, Chester County. I am very close to Victory Brewing here, Westchester, Pennsylvania. If anyone's ever seen Jackass, that's where they filmed all that stuff. So, Southeast Pennsylvania, Chester County. I'm here.
And you're with Arthur Hall Insurance, and more
I,
specifically, you also have Craft Brewery Insurance.
I do, and you know what? I got it on the sleeve and everything. So,
I love it. I love it.
craftbrewinginsurance.com.
Craftbreweryinsurance.com. So if anybody wants to contact Kyle directly, that's one way to do it, of course. Absolutely. So we're just going to talk a little bit about your world in the insurance and your relationship with craft breweries and how that's different from some of the property and casualty insurance that you might be providing to other types of industries. So how has 2022 shaken out? What's new? What's exciting, and what's different than what you thought it was going to be?
I don't know about what's different. Definitely had a great year. This is my best year as an insurance agent by far.
That's awesome.
So I am on that track, and hopefully we'll have some announcements as far as being a partner at the agency. So that'll come up next year. And but yeah, my overall, most, I don't know, just like the largest year I've ever had. And I think that what we as people are paid in relation to the value that we bring to the industry. So as we become more valuable, and more known and involved, we see what we're doing grow. Obviously what we're doing is working. A lot of the folks that we work with are due to, happy customers going, hey, you need to talk to this guy. So, we continue to grow. And the industry has continued to evolve and change a little bit. You're going to see some, double-digit increases in insurance premiums on the property side and umbrella side coming for 2023. A lot of these catastrophic type situations are really driving up pricing. It's really hard to price some things. Cyber insurance is becoming impossible. So, the industry is evolving. Inflation and all that stuff is taking over. Obviously, all of our clients have rising costs too. I would say that the nice thing has been, while cardboard or aluminum has gone up 20, 30, 40%, insurance rates over the last year have been between 4 and 8. So, we're not always the bad guy raising rates here. So
bad news, good news, right?
Yeah, bad news, good news. But, implementing the proper risk management techniques and having good conversations, we can keep your claims down, which ultimately helps reduce costs or control costs. So it's been a great year. I can't believe.
So you and I have talked before about how the craft brewery industry is, it's a different animal, even though it's manufacturing. And so there are some different types of coverages and different approaches that you would use, within the craft brewing space that you would not use in a more traditional manufacturing format. So what are some of those differences to help people understand that?
Yeah, well, when we're talking about breweries and distilleries, we're really talking about a manufacturing facility, right? We got the back of house, and then but we have that liquor liability, we have that hospitality front of house. We also are doing deliveries and doing offsite events. That brings in a different level of risk versus somebody, again, just making screwdrivers in their facility and a truck coming to pick them up and distribute them. We're dealing with alcohol, so we're bringing in the liquor liability component. We need to keep our patrons safe and keep everybody trained out there. There's any amount of things. You can have wet floors, you can have over serving, you can have somebody that shows up to your place that's already intoxicated. So being able to identify those items, there's not a lot of insurance. There's about 6 insurance carriers out there that offer the appropriate coverages. Some will say, hey, we're interested in breweries, but they don't have some of the specific key components of that. Also, they don't have that back office safety training that others will provide as well. So it varies. But again, we are a manufacturing facility with a liquor liability. And that's, other insurance agents will call me and say, hey, listen, we did this guy's home and auto his whole life, and now he's opening a brewery and I don't know what to do. Can you help him? So, we're here to help.
Yeah, I think that's the point. This primary point is that it's so specialized. You need to make sure that you cover all of those bases.
Yep. I've worked in breweries. I've brewed beer. I still brew with my clients, 10 barrel systems, 20, half barrel systems, on the weekend, just having fun. But, I know the process. I've worked in it, and now I'm here to protect it.
Mm-hmm. What's a good way for someone to review the coverage that they currently have and evaluate whether or not they are where they need to be?
Okay. So what I always look at kind of first would be, all right, what are your sales figures? And then what's your insurance premium? Because usually it's around 2%, 2.5%. If you have a tasting room, your insurance premium is about 2.5% of your sales. So that's if you're at 4, okay, there's something off, right? If you're at 1%, there's probably something off, or you do have a lot of product going out the door. So that's a quick glimpse. Also, if you're looking at your, business income deductible, and if it says 72 hours, which is a 3-day waiting period before you can collect income, that tells me, all right, your agent does not understand, how your business operates. If you have a shutdown on a Friday and your policy says, okay, well, you're not going to collect income for 3 days, that policy is saying, all right, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no income. Now you're upset. So, maybe you pay a little bit extra annually for the right coverage, but I'd rather pay $1,000 extra annually instead of losing $40,000 of revenue on a weekend because the coverage is insufficient. So just having some of those tweaks, tank leakage, tank collapse, contamination. There's things like that. There's coverage that'll say, hey, we'll cover contamination or spoilage due to temperature change. Okay. Temperature change in a brewery, your chiller's down. It might be a week before your beer hits 75 degrees and is really, dumpable. What we want to look for is contamination due to bacteria, right? We get a bug or some sort of insufficient cleaning, that tank is shot. You have a 90 barrel tank. I mean, just calculate how much revenue that is. So those are just some of the tweaks there that, we need to make sure we're including. Cyber, as I mentioned, is a big part of what's going on moving forward. You have a lot of credit card transactions, employment practices liability. So wrongful termination, sexual harassment, discrimination. I think we've seen that over the last few years here be pretty rampant in the industry. We want to make sure that, you understand there are coverages out there for these things. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, we can give you the Cadillac, we can back some things off, and I never want somebody to purchase something they don't understand. Right? So, hey, you don't know what this is? Let's talk about it.
What's like the time budget that somebody should, an owner should devote to doing a review with someone like yourself? I mean, because time is obviously a factor in many situations because everything's running so quickly.
I mean, a lot of times we set aside 30 minutes and then we end up going an hour, right? Because when we start to dig into some questions, other questions pop up, other scenarios pop up. I always, so an hour, right? But we like to do about an hour 4 times a year with our current clients. So that initial conversation might be an hour, and then there might be back and forth. But, we essentially do quarterly connections with our clients.
That was going to be my next question is what was the frequency? So you're saying about an hour a quarter is something that you should make sure that you get on the schedule, at least to talk with your insurance person and make sure that things are where they have been. And the reason for the frequency is what?
Just make sure that, because the brewery owners are busy and they're buying things and they're moving and shaking and they're so damn creative and they have new ideas, and maybe they just like, we're going to rent this storage space. We're going to buy this vehicle. We're going to add this, canning line. We're going to buy this building, and they don't tell you. Right. So having these conversations, they're going, oh yeah, I bought this. Did I tell you? No. Okay. So, if there's not a bank involved or a loan involved, they'll forget to tell you. The bank will remind you if you do have a loan, but, they just move so fast. There's so many new ideas. There's collaborations, there's food trucks, there's yoga at the brewery. Like there's a lot of things that, they don't think about calling their insurance agent. And we don't have billable hours, right? So sometimes people hesitate to call the attorney. Like, I don't want to get billed. Calling me is free. So
well, I was doing yoga last night at one of the breweries.
Yeah, there you go. Did you sign a waiver?
No.
All right. See.
Yeah, you can see me doing that. Well, I think that's a good spot to end because I think going into 2023, just, if we could encourage more people to kind of get that budgeting time, say, hey, at least do it once a quarter. And you make a great point. A lot of things are changing very quickly. And I know it's very dynamic in the brewery space, and you just want to make sure that you don't miss something.
Yep.
So
your agent, your agent should be proactive about it.
Yep.
We have a system in place where we're pinging you to make sure that, even it's just like, yes, I meant to call you, I forgot. So we're constantly staying in touch.
Yeah. And, this wasn't a sales presentation, but you reminded me that you are licensed in 50 states, so that if somebody had a question, they can contact you directly, and you're willing to chat with them about that.
Absolutely. And again, I've had you on the Beer Mighty Things podcast, right? So we have, that's a library.
That is a great resource.
If you have a question, I can say, all right, listen to episode 125. We covered that, at what point, or how old should you be, your brewery when you purchase a centrifuge? Like, we covered that. So, we talk about those things. It's a library, so
great.
And, you have obviously been on and provided great content as well.
Well, thank you so much, Kyle. I hope you have a great rest of the year, Christmas, New Year, and all the rest, and that you survive the rain or the snow or whatever comes.
I get my kayak out and float down the street.
Yeah, a different way to commute.
Exactly.
Well, great. We'll talk to you soon, and I'll make sure that people get your contact information.
Appreciate it, Doug. Thank you so much, and
cheers
to you.
Bye now. Bye.